say I'm a bit disappointed. I thought I was going to go to the pub earlier. Next time. Right. Yeah. Okay, so who here's heard of Esports? Esports. Okay, that's pretty rubbish. Great base. Who plays games? On console or PC? Oh, this is going to be a tough crowd. Yeah, right. Okay, so there's we'll start from the beginning. Esports is a up-and-coming phenomenon in the world of gaming. Big cash prizes, team competitions, and it's increasingly viewed online. So, two people, well, in fact teams. South Korea, it's increasingly big, it's becoming big in this country. Take a game like StarCraft. Who's heard of StarCraft? Oh, there you go. Take a game like StarCraft, and teams bat out for cash prizes. And we're not talking small cash prizes here. A recent tournament, I think held 2 weekends ago, was cash prize 10 million. We're talking people with dedicated careers, playing games 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to hone their skills.
What's the one with the cards? Because one said it was 20
Mario.
Yeah, but he made cards online, you know, like kind of game cards.
Right.
And he said he made a lot of money.
I don't know that one. Okay.
Sorry, you said 10 million?
Yes.
2 teams?
That's a prize fund. I think it's did out by the first 5 places. It's not my particular game. So, co-founder Webmatics. I'm going to run through these very quickly because we've got quite a bit to get through within the short space of time, especially with the screen issues. So, co-founder Webmatics, worked with WordPress for the last 6 years, also used PHP Framework E and Laravel. You find me on that website, and there's my Twitter handle. Next.
I like it.
WordPress as an application platform. Who here's been coming here since January? Okay. I've done a talk in January about using WordPress as an application platform. It's available online. Maybe some of you care to tweak the presentation. That will give you a much more bigger grounding in what I'm about to say, but I've got a few slides that cover the same topic. So, using WordPress as an application platform is, for the initial get off the ground and go, pretty good. You've got your basic read, update and delete, out-of-box user permissions, predefined DB structure, you haven't got to worry about that, and a large library of plugins and code. These are some of the key plugins. I'm not going to talk too much about these, purely because we'll be here all day. But a key one I want to go over going as I move forward through this presentation. Some of the techniques we'll use key plugins, and at that point I'll point them out. I've kind of got a mixture of bits from the site because there's quite a bit to encompass. Won't be covering the whole site. So yeah, this is a basic one. We've got post to posts, advanced custom fields, custom post types, taxonomy, synchronization, W3 Frontend Pro, gravity forms, and taxonomy metadata. And then outside of that, you've got the code tips, which includes extending the XML RPC interface, showing the user the custom post type, which I'm quite a fan of, extending post meta tables if you've got a lot of structured data, Euro endpoints, very powerful and used extensively with what I'm about to show you. Again, I'll go through in greater detail. And coming to 4.1, I believe, is the new REST interface, REST API for WordPress. Who here has heard of that? Well, that's pretty good, considering it's not even been called yet. So, what is the game this is about? This is called a game called Planetary Annihilation. About to be released within the next 2 weeks. Already available to play. It's the reason a community is built up, especially a technical community, is because of the technologies used within the game. The game itself is UI, it's HTML based, with a JavaScript actions and framework beneath it. Who's heard of Knockout? Cool. Out of my phone. Hold on. Yeah. Thank you everybody tweeting me. That's obviously no mentions. Right, so the game uses a HTML JavaScript engine for its UI called Coherent. Uses WebKit prefixes predominantly, and it allows us to mod the UI and the game extensively. So quite quickly, a community sprung up around that, and it allows us to do some very cool things like streaming out game data in real time to third-party services. So after that, it was decided that an esports community was needed or was developing, and there was nothing to take advantage of that, or a single place they could call home. So a team of us, around 9 of us, started working on Esports. There's about 3 developers, 3 to 4 developers, and the rest are content creators, administrators, people it takes to run the site basically. It's been built over the last 5 months, and as I said, esports focus for game planetary annihilation. So these are some of the features the website has that we've been building. We've got player profiles, statistical classes for players' matches that they've taken part in. We have site takeovers for bigger tournaments. Form signatures of staff that's streamed out of WordPress using custom rewrite rules. And obviously basic stuff, tournament listing, players, brackets, matches, tournament sign-ups, match videos, API for extended services. We didn't want the idea of a community size, it's not a walled garden. The data's not mine, it's everybody's. So we make extensively work with other people in the community to make sure they can access our data if they want to. We have guides, Twitch integration. Twitch is basically the biggest driving force in the esports industry. It's what everyone uses to watch it. Who has been following the news recently and heard about the acquisition? Yeah, Google meant to buy it, but Amazon bought it for slightly less and reasons unknown to everybody else. Perhaps we're going to sell them a game. Real-time match results, which I'll be going into detail. That's one of the more recent features we've added to the site. We're experimenting with WebSockets and WordPress, which is quite interesting stuff. So as a match result comes into WordPress, the person on the front end of the site doesn't need to refresh the page. The page results are automatically updated in real time. We have real-time voting coming soon as well. When a tournament is in progress, our front end of the site is taken over for that tournament, and a Twitch feed is shown so they can watch the game in progress. And then during that game, we're currently working on voting features. So in real time, players can vote, and they drive user engagement. Say, okay, I think this team player is going to win, and we're going to have in real time, in progress, slider to say who's going to win, yes, no, that type of area. And we're also working towards push notifications. That's more coming soon. We're currently waiting on Firefox and Chrome for push notifications in the core. Safari already has them. So that's the features. So what have we done to WordPress? Go on.
Sorry, just one question. When you said about pushing to the site in WordPress in live time, is that using Heartbeat?
No.
Because I've noticed with WordPress, when things are pushed in real time, on the circuit lags.
No, we're using Ratchet, WebSockets for our real-time communication, typing to PHP. Anybody understand any of those words? Cool. So, we tried several strategies. I'm going to go into the real-time stuff later. We tried several strategies. We tried running a node server alongside WordPress to give us a real-time connection on the front. It's not great, it uses server resources, and it's just another thing we have to manage. So recently we moved to Ratchet and tied it into WordPress event system. So when a match updates, save post, it pushes out the result, the data that's needed. I mean, there's loads of benefits to this. When a person refreshes the page, obviously WordPress runs, and that's a huge cost. If a person's sitting on their front page and the WebSocket is literally just pushing out match results, there's no page refresh, WordPress isn't running a full script. It's literally much more lightweight on the server. But we'll talk about that a bit later on towards the end. Unfortunately, I didn't get time to do a slide about the real-time stuff, because it's so new in what we're doing, and I prefer to do another talk in a few months' time once we've mastered it. So yeah, on to the next one. So to get WordPress to do what we needed, we've got 9 custom post types with our own permissions. We're using advanced custom fields. Again, this is a hobby project. This is not something I paid to do. This is my evening. So we needed the site to get off the ground quickly. And fast custom fields is kind of the way to go on that when you want to get something done quick. Now, in the future, we will be investigating the WordPress fields that are coming. WordPress is getting its own meta fields, effectively. That's not for a little while yet, but we will be investigating that and moving to that. I've spoken a little bit about the WebSocket-based updating. We're using Angular-based widgets, and the Angular interacts with the new WordPress REST API. We've got 4 different roles. We've got content creators, we've got the players, we've got the administrators, and a few other bits in between. The biggest driver in the whole site is the relationship system. We use post-to-post. Who's heard of that? Okay, that's pretty good. Post-to-post, it's a great relationship. It adds relationships to WordPress, and it makes it very powerful. Great UI, very quick to set up, brilliant plugin, and it's quite extendable as well. We're using Endpoints for tournaments. I've got a separate slide for that, we'll come to that in a minute. All our events, so the tournament, the matches are in fact sub-events of the tournament, and they're using schema HTML for Google. And we've got sign-ups provided by a Gravity form, and they go through the account generation and make sure they can actually be signed up to the tournament. Yep.
Sorry, reference to schema, the HTML, events and news articles. Is that like your SEO kind of automated because it's sending it straight to Google to tell it's got new...
No, basically it's your HTML structure on the page and how Google reads the data there. It's basically says to Google, yeah, this is an event, class it as such.
But that's all automated now?
Yeah, you will. Obviously you need to change the HTML to reflect that. But yeah, so when Google crawls that page and it hits that event, it will know what it is. So look, go on.
You use post-to-post to sort of final presentation?
Yes, I've got a big, nice chart coming later on. So, and we've got sign-ups, automatic account generation, so when a player signs up through the form, we check to make sure. Again, I've got another slide for this, too, actually. And we'll go through that sign-up process. And the use of WordPress transients for the heavy objects, because we're dealing with a lot of information, a lot of matches, a lot of players. Some pages can be quite heavy, so in order to scale, I mean, we're not doing bad numbers we do a few hundred hits a day, which is not bad for a format-file site for a game that hasn't launched. And we want to keep our service costs down again. This is a hobby, I'm not making money. So, nuts and bolts. This one's about endpoints. Who's heard of endpoints? Okay. They're really powerful. And if you're a developer, you should be using them, especially if you're doing custom work. So, when a person hits a tournament page, they're presented with multiple options, as you can see here. Home, rules, sign up, players, matches, brackets. There's a few more, but they're hidden for the average consumer, and therefore our casters. We call a person a caster, and they're a person that commentator, basically. New web commentator, new age. So we have the first layer, we have obviously the endpoints, and then under that, the content they reflect. And then we run some custom PHP code and get template part based on endpoint. So we have the basic content. Rules is just a meta field with which is what you get edited to run it. The sign-up is custom Gravity forms, and the players is a post-to-post connected relationship. Now, that's probably one of the most frequently visited pages on the site, but it's also quite costly to look up in the grand scheme of things, so we have a transit on that to help with caching. Matches again, we have the tournament, and I'm going to get in more detail on another slide, how matches and tournament are related based on post-to-post and their relationship. And in brackets is a custom display page. So that just rolls out a custom page that we wanted to show. Any questions? Cool.
Sorry. Are your endpoints RESTful or are following a particular, I don't know.
Sorry, what's that?
Are they RESTful? Are the endpoints RESTful? Are they following REST? No.
No.
Okay.
They're literally PHP. When you hit an endpoint, it goes through the WordPress rewrite, and you can query that with WP query and see what's being looked up. And it goes from there. So this is our post-to-post relationships, what I was talking about. So we have the tournament, which is basically the whole system's geared towards. And then we have the matches, we have the players, excluded players. News articles can be tied to tournaments, matches, and so, for instance, if the person views a match, that match has two types of connection: the players and the actual tournament it was part of, and that can be seen through the links. And then for each match that a caster was present, there's a video as well. And then on that video, we have another connection to who was commentating on that video. But probably the most important one here is the tournament players. And you can see in between that I've got a status. And that status is metadata on the connection between the player and the tournament. So we had active, did no shows, and a few other bits disqualified. So when a person views that tournament, they only see the active players, but there's also reserves. For instance, we have a tournament, it's 128 slots, but we've got 32 slots reserved in case somebody does a show. And that's all controlled through a status on the meta connection. The meta on the connection. So, now, there's a few things I could probably improve on this. The excluded players could probably be done on the status. They should have been, in honesty. That's probably something I'll get to eventually and change. And then we've got our staff as well, very important. It takes about, to run a tournament with 120 people, it takes probably about 9 of us. This is quite a bit of communication. So yeah, that's how it all links together, roughly. Yep.
When you're running your tournament, what are you kind of monitoring? What would you have to be aware of with the other 9 people?
We have quite a few of us developers, so it's quite a techie solution. We have, who's heard of Mumble? Okay, Mumble is a free voice comm program. So you run it on a server, connect, and you can speak to everybody like you're in the same room. And then we have an IRC server separate from that, where everybody that wants to play the game has to be in. And in between those two, if anything's talked about, that's synchronised between the two programs. And that's one way we see what's going on.
To monitor cheating?
Not cheating, that's part of the game.
Right.
Not part of the game cheating, but that's up to the game to detect. Nice. Okay. We can also, because the game data is streamed out of the game in real time, we can see when a match has ended. And we know, for example, who the winner was, what time they won, how many units they built, how many units they killed. We have extensive stats on that. So when a match has completed, we pull that in through the Xmarkets interface, the extended one, and we say, okay, we have this match, this is the person that won, or the team that won, and we store that data with the match on the player profile to match link.
Sorry, what I'm trying to understand is how can you bring it down to less people running a tournament or totally automated tournament? So you basically, you know, it takes a stat off who won and then boom. So you guys, you know. Yeah,
no, we will run automated tournaments eventually. The game will be releasing a RESTful API that we can hook into as a third party and provide games, and those people can literally click a link and log straight into the game, and we can monitor that game, and then when the game finishes, we pull those results automatically and store them, all in real time. But that's a little way off yet. So the game's not quite ready, and we only have so many hours that aren't working. So I'm going to talk you through the sign-up process now. That's probably one more involved, and it's one I recently redone as well, so I'm unfortunately quite familiar with it. So the person hits the sign-up endpoint, they're presented with a gravity form. Now that gravity form can be chosen from a meta panel, and for instance the last one was their in-game name, their email, their clan, and any notes they want to leave for us. Sometimes I might be out of that day or whatever. They have loads of things they want to leave for us. So the first thing it does when they hit sign into this tournament, is this a valid tournament? Again, security, make sure they're not posting for what they do, they're not. Gamers like to cheat, so we have to be aware that sometimes they might not be coming through correctly. So is it a valid tournament? Yes. Is this the correct sign-up form? I haven't got all the fields we need? Yes. Is this player excluded? earlier I was talking about the excluded links on tournaments. We check them. If they are excluded, we give them a feedback note on the form saying, sorry, you're excluded from this tournament. And is the tournament sign-ups open? So that's a bit more complicated. That's a custom function, obviously. It looks at slots, open, reserved, player statuses. Has the tournament got the correct status as well? And has no one hit the override button? We've got quick overrides allow people to certain type of sign-ups if things go wrong. If they've gone through that and all at this point, great, we can now sign up to the tournament. So this is the average flow the user walks through. As they hit, yes, they can sign up. Is this an existing user? Yes, if it is, great. Haven't got to do as much work. Are they already signed up? Another basic check. That, in fact, should be moved out of this and moved up the chain. So that should happen before they hit this process. If they're already signed up, again, send back to the login form. Sorry, you've already signed up. Or in this case, I think it's great, you're already signed up, or it's positive, let us. Then any data they've input in the form is obviously going to be their latest data. We want to grab it then, store it against their profile. And then we connect programmatically that player to the tournament. We know the tournament ID, we know the player ID at this point, we connect them. Cool. So, if they're a new player, it gets a bit more. We have to create a new user. Obviously, we want them to be able to log in the future and update their profile. We create a new user, we then create a player profile. We register all the metadata that come in the form. If a challenge ID is set, we can at that point send that to a third party and sign up to the tournament. At that point again, we get the same tree, we can connect them. Everybody's connecting now to the tournament, we send them a welcome email, which is custom post type, and then we display the sign up information. Any questions? Yep.
So are you still in Gravity Forms here at this point?
This is a back-end hook. So Gravity Forms is pretty extendable. They provide lots of hooks. So we hook into Gravity Forms at a correct point. And
just ask me, so you're capturing their latest information as they're filling in that form. Are you creating individual forms to capture that information?
We have one form, so all the tournaments can run off a basic form. Then we have an extended form. We basically duplicate a form. If we're doing a special tournament, for instance, we launch one at the weekend. If it's a special tournament, then they can have a special form. It's not restricted to a single form. It's a selectable within the tournament metadata. So, yeah. You have a question? Yep.
Is it, when you actually go through a process, how long does it take? So I know you've gone very specific because you have to, you know, cover all basics. Is it nice and clean and easy sign up for a potential player? Yes. Yeah.
Yep. Very, very much so. You would not believe it, most of them are prima donnas. It's terrible. They will bitch, and they do. So, that's pretty much the sign-up process. Now, there's a lot of other processes happening on the website. I could spend hours talking to you about this, but I think that's enough for tonight. Some of you are glazing over already. So, the future. One of the problems, it's not a problem, it's a very small problem. The ratio to post to metadata is a bit higher than I would like. That's because we store a lot of information for the tournament and with a match, start times, end times, that type of stuff. And that there's easy ways to get around that. We'll probably eventually define a custom database structure for match and tournaments and have a row of metadata instead of rows of metadata. Advanced custom fields is great, but it has a few things that annoy me. We'll be investigating the WordPress one that's moving out. That's not for a little while yet though. More actions tied to the WebSocket stuff. The real-time aspect of the site is the one I really want to push. The new live page, so when a tournament is in progress, when a person's watching the stream, we'll have live voting. We have guest analysis on the program. It's basically a program, and at that point we'll change the display of the front page to show who's now speaking, who this guest analysis is, and the person won't have to refresh the page. It will literally sweep in from the side, show them, and then when that person's finished talking, we click a button, and that goes out again. So we want more third-party authentication options. Very easy to do, correct hooks on WordPress. Currently we're using an extended XML RPC. We will be moving, once the new RESTful API is in core, we will be moving to that to input data into the system. And I will be doing a talk, so that's about future stuff at the minute. And I will be doing a talk about WebSocket integration with WordPress a bit more down the line once I've had a chance to play with it a bit more, get a few more problems, and go from there. Questions? Yeah?
You talked about storing metadata on the link between the player and the tournament, and you also implied that you stored it on the link between the player and the match itself. Where do you store that metadata?
Post-to-post has, so post-to-post is a few tables, I think it's 2 or 3. The first table is literally the ID of the 2 objects and the connection type, and then the second one is the ID of the connection, and that allows you to store metadata on the connection. So what it allows us to do is say, when it comes in, we store the winner on that connection between the matches. So we say, okay, the match had 4 players, one of those was the winner, and we store that winner and the losers on the connection between those players and that match. And we can query that metadata to say, okay, we only want the winners from this match. And we can reference it as well, as you would get post now.
I read just 3 days ago that Microsoft is developing a system called Zero. Basically, it's a predictive system. So it will cut the ads or...
Oh, I saw that. So it knows kind of what links you're going to and pre-caches them?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They have this kind of predictive algorithm that, there is an interesting article on the aspect. So, just a comment.
Yeah, there's lots of techniques you can use for caching, and especially the same way you can do it now. If you're really into that type of stuff, fast page loading, there's some great talks out there about caching, fast talks, ped storage. I think the interesting one is the Guardian website. If you're interested in page load speeds, have a look at the code, see how they do it. That's very interesting. The new Guardian bit site. So yeah, there's lots of ways you can go to speed up the site, and especially with our heavy objects to cache it as well. Really?